Well, if Sky's ready and I'm ready, then this must mean the show's going. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Natives in America podcast. I'm your host, Benjamin Wan, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Sky Anto.
Yo, what's up? What's good?
How good is it?
It's good in the neighborhood.
Nice.
All good in the neighborhood.
It's even gooder. I know that's gonna, grind some gears and raise some feathers, but it's even gooder when you tip people, which is tonight.
It's nice to get a tip here and there.
Yeah, and it's nice to put the tip in, and it's nice to get a good tip on a lead. Anyway, we went off the tracks already. All right, tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about tipping. And we're going to kind of bounce off this article, but I think all of us have done it enough, or don't do it enough, where we don't even need the article, we can just start going off. But we're going to keep referencing this article.
Yeah.
Now, Sky sent me one earlier, and it was, I didn't get to read it, but we already pulled up another one right here, and it's like essentially the same idea, but as I read this one, I really feel like I don't know who the hell these people think they are. But anyway, we're going to go with it. We're on a website called Bankrate, and it's talking about personal finance. It looks like we're in the personal finance section. And the name of the article is The New Rules of Tipping, How Much to Tip in Every Situation. It's written by Libby Wells, and it was edited by Lance Davis. And this was released December 15th, 2021, so that's not even that long ago.
Last month, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
2 months, like... I was lying, but yeah.
Damn, it is 2 months ago. I don't know why, but I thought we were still in January. Wow. Okay. Apparently when you don't maintain the calendar or really maintain a schedule, things just meld together, and it's just like, oh, what day is it? Oh, whatever.
Yeah, when you're living life.
When I'm living that La Vida Loca.
Yeah, you're not really looking at the clock.
Yeah.
Or the calendar, yeah.
I don't even wear a watch anymore, man. It's like, oh, wow, that's really wise. Like, yeah, my phone's got a clock on it. You know? All right.
Yeah, gratuities.
Yes. Gratuity. I feel like that's so forced. Irritates the hell out of me. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, have you had a job where you got tips?
Yes. Yes, I have. I want to say only one. So, I guess I'll kick it off since you asked. I was a valet driver for a while. I was making $4.15, I think. And that was after I graduated, like 2005. No, I went to school for a while. We talked about this. I had to leave school after like a semester, 2 semesters, maybe the 3rd semester. And then I got a job as a valet. I think it was a classmate that got me into it. And like I said, when I heard how much we were getting paid, I was like, man, this is bullshit. Like, they're like, hey, you get tips. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Like, it still doesn't seem right. Everybody who's minimally getting paid is getting paid this. Like twice, 2-3 times that much. And here I am making a third of that. And hoping to God I'm coming across some tippers. So, damn. That was a big eye-opener for me, but it was like I was on the other end of that where I was dependent on tips. And when somebody didn't tip, I was like, man, fuck you, fucking cheap bastard. Like, all right, but at the same time, I felt weird, too. Like, oh, I got to solicit this guy when he's coming out and when he's going in, and I'm just, hey, money. I'm going to smile at you extra hard if you just give me money. That's what it felt like? Yeah. I was shaking my ass, but I wasn't exactly shaking my ass for tips, but I was like...
But you were busting your ass.
Yeah. I tried, I think my approach was, when we got hit, like slammed, I would pick people out of the out of the circle, because people would be getting like desperate, like, hey, get my car, get my car. I'd be like, what's your car? What's your ticket? Show me your ticket and I'll go get it. And I'd be like, I wouldn't wait for our pickup van to take us to the garage. I'd just start running. And I think people really liked that. But in this job, this industry that I was in, the valet parking, which I enjoyed it. I got to drive a lot of really cool cars. We pooled our tips. So even the lazy motherfuckers on the job, they got a piece every night.
Oh.
So that was a bit of a bitch. It was a bit of like it kind of caused a little animosity. Just a little bit, you know, like you better start moving your ass. But yeah, I'll tell you this: going home every night with a wad of cash, whether it was a lot or a little, it was kind of nice to just have cash every night. And I think it ranged from anywhere from like 15 to 40, and I think on the big nights like the Gem Show or let's just say the Gem Show, Tour de Tucson. I think the highest I got where I worked extra long, I think I got like $100 and something in one night. So that was good. Nice. But they can't all be that night, you know? So it kind of flattens out that $4 an hour paying job.
Yeah.
That was a young man's job. Not just because of the physical part, but like I think only a young man could accept working hard for that little. All right.
I was gonna say, like, because it's almost like not so much your work ethic. Well, yeah, maybe your work ethic too, where because you're not gonna get a big paycheck, you're gonna have to make up for that in what you kind of pull the tips.
Yeah.
So I did that, but did that kind of change how you were? I mean, obviously it changed you how you were working, but was it like, I gotta actually, like you said, shake my ass or
shake a tail feather? We'll come to that. I want to hear if you had a job where you got tips.
So I worked at the airport. That was all based off of tips. It was even less than $4. I think it was like it might have been 40, but after taxes or whatever, it was a lot less. And it really was like how much you made on your tips.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like not everybody tips.
Yeah.
So going into that job, it was almost like the ones that were there the longest kind of had more knowledge, so they were almost like taking all like the places where they knew they were going to get tips.
Yeah.
I just remember one time I got to, because it was wheelchair, I was a wheelchair assistant. So it's like they'll tell you when planes have somebody that's coming off or arriving that requires a wheelchair assistance. And, you pretty much take them to wherever they're going, whether they're leaving or they're connecting, So, one time I got to do an international flight to where it was like one of the bigger planes and you kind of got to go through extra back doors. It was just a bigger not a bigger production, but it was like grandioso. A lot of like you weren't allowed in certain sections, but a lot of times it was like, oh, you're gonna get a good tip, because apparently who's ever needing wheelchair assistance coming off of another country will tip you well. I mean, I think that was more of a general, like I said, not everyone will tip.
Yeah.
And And like even for me, sometimes like I don't have cash, but like if I did, I would tip you. So it's like, you know, maybe they wanted to tip, but they just didn't have it on them. So I don't know. It is kind of like not it's like you're expecting it, but then you kind of do. Well, like one.
Yeah.
But then when I also worked as a cashier, they would tip us, and I mean, I never made a lot, but it was always.
Where were you cashiering?
It was like it was a Kyoto, but it was just like a register job, bro. Like, you know, people can tip on the cards.
No.
I would like. When you pay with your debit card, there's an option.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And a lot of times, I will get tips to that.
Really?
And you know, some days I'll do, I mean, not horrible, but like I might make like $8. You know, just you know, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just taking their order and giving them their food, like. So.
Also, it was fast food.
Yeah, so not to say it was like I was running around or, you know, it was pretty much the interaction that they could base it off of. So, I don't know. You know, I guess what is it that makes you want to tip somebody over somebody else? Or like if there's is that a tip when like there's a musician playing or a street performer, you know, that's relying on tips, like they have a tip jar or an open guitar case, like.
Yeah, I would say that's tips. Working for tips.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point we're gonna have to bring up strippers.
Okay.
That's working for tips, don't you think? Working for sweaty dollar bills. I don't know.
Well, that's really shaking your ass.
Literally shaking your ass for tips. Yeah.
All right. Well, how do you want to start there?
Well, no. All right. So I'm gonna go over these big titles on the article. I don't know if I'm gonna read them all because at some point I might just get pissed off and we got to go into this. So I'm just gonna read some titles here. They're like paragraphs that are led by a highlighted title, or let's call them titles. I don't even want to try to figure out what else to call them. So here we go. One says, "How much to tip at restaurants?" Oh, there's a big ass advertisement in the middle. How much to tip delivery drivers? I was like, yeah, okay, you know. I think everybody thinks restaurant, right? You go in, you sit down, and somebody waits on you, right?
Yeah.
How much to tip at hotels? Now, we'll come back. We'll come back. I'm going to read these titles, and then we're going to go back to the first one. How much to tip while traveling? And we're going to read some of those other ones, but here we go. How much to tip at weddings? Now, once I saw weddings, I was like, who the hell is writing this article? How much to tip at salons and spas? Now that, when somebody has to get all close and touch my head and cut my hair, and it's all falling on their hands and it's on the floor and they got to sweep and all that shit and they're, you know, talking me up, I tip at a salon. Not a salon, but when my barber, you know, lines me up, especially if they go the extra step and, you know, shave me, it's like, here you go, buddy. I usually try to throw a little something in there. How much to tip for funerals, which blew my mind right when I saw it. I was like, what the fuck? And then there's Cardinal Rules for tipping. And I think that's where we should start at the beginning. Yeah, that was the end of it. All right, so we'll come back and finish with Cardinal Rules for tipping. All right, but here we go. So, first section, how much to tip at restaurants? Now, I'm curious because I was reading some of these and they just seem so damn outlandish. Here we go. For the wait staff at sit-down restaurants, the tip should be 15 to 20% of the pre-tax bill. Tips are not necessary when you pick up your order or at fast food restaurants. Alright, so they just said what I was thinking. I was like, oh, you're at a fast food restaurant. I don't tip those people. But there's usually a tip jar, right? Okay. Now, when you see this tip jar, do you think it's like a legalized tip jar where they're making shit wages and they got to depend on those tips? Or do you think they're just hoping you might throw a couple bucks in? But did you guys have like a little jar? Or were you all getting it on the tip suggestion line?
I want to say there was a jar, but like I said, if you paid with your debit card, it was an option, so we still did it. But at most I did was maybe they sat down and I would take the tray to them when their food was ready, but it wasn't like it wasn't anything fancy. But the restaurant was nice, so maybe they just felt nice in there. So, you know, when you're in a nice place, you throw cash around. All
right. So
I had a restaurant, like, I mean, I always bust out the calculator and, you know, do the, like I said, the 15% or 20%. If I had got it like that, but, I mean, I guess, like, the reason why you tip at a restaurant is because to me it was always because the waiter was doing a lot of different things, and, you know, it's very, like a hospitality, you know, you're the face of
the restaurant,
yeah, and like sometimes your performance is so well that you know you make it enjoyable experience eating with whatever if you're by yourself or with your people.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, you know, showing we respect, you know, your time, you know, getting us our meal. So it was almost like the tip reflected that, if you had it like that. But I do remember a time, because this is why I kind of brought it up, because it's like this almost this point of like, you don't have to tip because you don't got it like that, but then it's like there's a point in time where you shouldn't be there if you don't have it like that. But I remember, I think I was still in like, must have been like 10th or 11th grade, and we would go to Tucson for summer school. And I remember one time we're on this field trip, and we had to wait somewhere, and there was a Pizza Hut up the road. And it was like us, like a bunch of like, you know, pretty much just 4 kids. Teenagers, whatever. We didn't have that much money, but we went to Pizza Hut and got, you know, we got a pizza. And when the bill came, like we were just scraping our money just to pay the bill.
Yeah.
And like, maybe we didn't think about it at the time, but it was like, no, we had no money to tip, and we knew we were fucking up because it was, because I think it's like when you go to restaurants, you always, I think growing up, I always just remember my family always leaving money on the table, and I was always like, what's that money for? And then I think then you grow up and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it, and anyways, we had like pennies. Like we just had like shitload of pennies, and we just like, and we kind of let slide to where, you know, we didn't really make any face to face like we're leaving, or, you know, it was just sort of like that. I mean, that was like It was funny at the moment, but looking back, it was like, you bunch of shitheads, you know. But I was a kid, you know, so I think I could use that as an excuse to not tip. But then now, if I were to pull that same shit, like.
Do you think your server was like, those crazy kids, or you think it's like, you cheap little sons of bitches when you left, like, motherfuckers? You know, like, do you think it was pissed?
I don't know.
Like, how much do you think, if you had to just guess or throw a number out there, how much do you think your food cost? Or whatever you guys got?
It was probably about like $30 maybe.
Okay, so $6, right, would be 20%?
I think so. Okay.
I'm thinking every $10 is $2.
Okay.
So $30, $6.
$6 is a good tip for a $30 bill.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah.
Is it though? Is it? Now did whoever bring your pizza go, you know, do some backflips, maybe a birthday song or two, and then just kind of, you know, moseyed out of the room, or did they roll up and slap a pizza in front of you and said, "Have at it, you little bastards"? Like what? I mean, all right. So check it out. This is kind of my point of view. We're from a little, or we're used to a little bit of an older generation. So like our parents are a little bit older than maybe the generation that's starting, you know, coming up right now. The teenagers, the 20-somethings. They're not quite used to what we're used to. So I grew up, and like right before we tipped, my parents would be like, "Yeah, do you think they did a good job?" "Yeah, they did a good job." "Oh, they brought our drinks quick, you know, never had to just sit there with an empty cup." Like, they came quick, they kept checking on us, they left us alone when we ate, like, you know, but kept coming, you know, eyeballing us, like, "Hey, you guys good?" Or like the way this article reads, it just seems to me they're saying, "Hey, 20% everybody." Now, in my generational time, when I was a kid, it was like, "Fuck this guy." I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, and neither did my parents, but I'm saying my parents were like, "Oh, they didn't do anything. Give them $2." I think that's where I started. I gave them $2. It wasn't like, "Oh, let's break out our calculator and do 20%. You know, let's do this right. Let's pay every single person $20." It was like, you know what? They didn't do good at all. I was sitting here without a fork. I couldn't eat my food this whole time until I had to go get one myself. Or, you know, I've been thirsty this whole time. My drink's empty. So.
Oh yeah, I get what you're
So
saying.
in the time where I came from, it was like, "Screw you, buddy. You didn't do a good job. You're a terrible waiter. $2."
You didn't earn.
Yeah, like
you didn't earn it.
Like the thing is, from that time, you still got a tip, $2. There was no like, "Hey, screw you. I'm getting out of here before you come back." It was like, all right, $2. That's all you get. And then say maybe somebody, you know, was good, they were cordial, you know, had a little bit of a pep in their step, maybe made us smile a little, filled our drinks, you know, no bullshit, whole way through. We'd throw, you know, I think at the time it wasn't even 20%, but we'd throw like a 5 down, maybe if they kicked ass, a 10. Now that seems kind of a lot. So I think it was rare that we threw a 10, but I remember like 5s and 6s going down. All right? But let me ask you today. If we did it today, do you give everybody 20%? You get your bill, you get your calculator out, and just start tipping 20%.
I mean, I think what you're saying is, I think I do that, but it's always like, if there's something really if there are really some bad exchanges, or, you know, you didn't get the quality of service you normally get, you know, I might hold back on it a little bit, but.
So what, 15?
So
10%?
Yeah, I think I won't be like, they deserve they deserve a good tip because I got it like that. It's more. I forgot about that growing up, where it was kind of like. Let's kind of grade them now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's grade time, motherfucker.
Now, that kind of sounds bad, but it's kind of the truth, though, where it's like, did they earn the tip? Did they...
Yeah. It was an evaluation. That was your evaluation card, was your tip. There was no card saying, hey, how we do? It was like, $5. How you think you did, sucker? You know, $2, you ain't shit, your mom ain't shit. Who raised you? Who raised you? $2.
You remember First, that restaurant First?
Hell yeah.
So I remember, like, there was a point where, because you know, you would go and order your food, like the general food, but like throughout the time, wherever your server was, would say, hey, you need anything, and they would go running and get it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, the extras, you filled up your first tray, and then they're like, you want anything? Oh, they come get you your drinks. Oh, no, you get your drink, but they fill them up, and if you wanted, like, another entree, like another chicken or whatever, they went and got it.
They would go get it, and...
Okay.
I remember going with different relatives, and some of them would tip the server that, I mean, they didn't take our order all the time. I mean, they didn't take like how you would in a restaurant where you would get a menu and then order.
Yeah.
And then they bring it out, and that's what you're eating.
Yeah.
This was like you had your food already, and they were just kind of bringing in an extra tray or extra plate if you needed something else. But
all right, but
it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like the full waiter job, so it was like, well, you didn't really earn the, well, it's not so much you didn't really earn the tip, but with different relatives, it was like some tipped, some didn't tip, and it was always like, do they get the tip? Do they need the tip? It was just kind of like
that's weird. Like going in deep. You look like you live in a studio apartment and need some money. Here's a tip, buddy.
Not like that, by the way.
I think you're sleeping on a park bench tonight. Get yourself a sandwich, buddy.
I mean, you know what I mean, but it was just like...
You look like you came from a broken home. Like, here, buddy, just take a tip. Sorry, I fucked you up. Go ahead, continue.
No, but I just remember that. I guess maybe I've always been fascinated with the idea of tips. Like, whether you're earning it or not earning it. Even panhandling, like.
All right, is that tips?
I don't know.
Look, let's come back to that. I still want to kind of be on restaurants because I feel like restaurants is the key tipping place.
Okay.
All right. So let's come back to hobos and strippers and not that they're the same thing, but I'm throwing it out there.
So
first of all, I want to say that the fact that you brought up furs really dates you. Like I'm sure there's children in the world that don't know what the hell you're talking about furs. I used to go there a lot with the family.
It's classic spot.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask. I can't remember. Like, I feel like they used to have trash cans with a tray top, but at the same time, I'm thinking they used to clean our tables. You just stand up, like, oh, that was a good meal, and then just walk away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, there's a tip for you, pal. I'll give a person a tip. If they gotta wade through my trash and put it away, handle it.
Oh.
Take care of this, buddy. We're leaving.
Yeah.
Hey, you got this? We're taking off now. We got the bill. We're leaving. Take care of this, all right, pal?
Yeah.
There's some bucks on the table. A couple of bucks.
You're right.
I think going to furs, I was still in that kind of generation of like, hey, did they do well? Let's give them a couple of bucks.
Yeah. Like if they're hustling with getting you your Philly cheesesteak or your they used to have that steak, that patty steak.
Oh yeah, Salisbury steak.
Yeah, Salisbury steak.
I love those. It's a burger covered in gravy.
Yeah.
Kinda.
2 of them, boom.
Damn, 2. Give that person the tip, man. I wanted to bring up this little story, and really, it kind of has to do with the subject, doesn't? You brought up Pizza Hut. Way back when we had driven up to NAU, Flagstaff. They had this Pizza Hut joint there, and we almost always visited there because we're college age, whatever, young. We wanted pizza. I mean, I still love pizza. Don't get me wrong, but we went, and we were the assholes that showed up like 15 minutes before the fucking place closed. Like it was like I think we had driven up in the morning and we got there at night, and it was like places were all closing all around us, and we're like, oh, Pizza Hut's still open, but we got in there. But it turns out we were the only people. We were the assholes that made them turn everything back on. Dick move, all right? Dick move. Anybody who's listening and you're one of those people, quit it. Knock it off. Like, oh yeah. Oh, they're still open. Hey, you guys are still open. 15 more minutes. Like, what the fuck? Why are you closing now? Like, get out of here. Anyway, we got in there, and I think I'm not sure if we heard like cussing in the back, but like we got there. We got there late. Kind of ate our food, and not Pizza Huts don't really do. Well, I guess they do. They do the restaurant thing. But like it used to be more of a restaurant than anything. Like back in the day, it was just there was no drive-through. It was a restaurant.
No,
I think they would deliver. No, I think delivery came about later.
They did, but it was mainly a sit-down restaurant.
Yeah. All right, so we got in there where those fucking guys that came in late, right about to close. They were probably already wiping tables down, cleaning shit up. But this girl, she came out, kind of college age, and she started waiting on us, and she was nice. And then on top of that, there's a little bit of that guilt where it's like, we kind of screwed these guys over. So we threw down, like, we ate up, we kind of ate quick. We just wanted to eat, and there's no real fast foods around, and we just wanted to sit down. We had driven all that way, It's a pretty good long trip. And we sat down, we ate kind of quick, we got our leftovers, and we booked it. We left. And then we're like, you know what? This was kind of a dick move. She was really nice. Let's give her a big tip. And I think we all kind of threw down some money, and it came out to something like $15 or $20, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like a $30 order, maybe $40. So it was a decent tip if we're all considering 15, 20%. Now, it was still long enough ago that it was still about that time, so I'm not saying, hey, this is normal, give them this much. So we walk out the door, we go get in our car, and it just so happened our car was facing where we were sitting. This girl walked up, and she's like, I'm going to move some shit, and then she saw the tip. She grabbed the tip, she held it up, and she counted it, and she just did this little dance, like, yeah, like, fuck yeah, we got paid. I'm gonna get a 40 tonight. I'm gonna get me a meal and a 40. I can't just, anyway. But we always liked that, and ever since then, like we kind of joke, like we never forgot it. Like she did a little jig, like she danced. She was real happy for this big tip. And we're just like, oh shit, look at it. She couldn't see us, so like we're just sitting in the car, like, oh shit, she's dancing. Like, wow, cool. It was cool. So ever since then, like we kind of joke around, like we throw down a little bit of a tip. We're like, you think they're gonna dance like that chick at the pizza? And they never do. Or we never line up the way that just so perfectly lined up, But we always joke about it, like, you think they'll do a dance? Like we always just say that, like, yeah, put another couple bucks in there. You think they'll do a dance? Like, I don't know. It doesn't look like a dance yet. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, to her, that made her nice. It's like, I got a couple extra bucks, like a decent amount of bucks on this one service this one group, and she, she did a dance. So, in a way, it was like, all right, she was probably making waitress tips where she was getting a reduced, hourly wage because she got tips. Maybe.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to say that, too. The minimum wage just barely went up, but for a while there, it was like,
yeah,
it was like less than $5. It was like right at $5.
Really?
Like, it was shit pay.
All right.
So, I mean,
all right. Well, check this. All right. Do people still do, right? Get shit wages if they get tips?
I think so.
Right? Okay, so.
I think so.
All right, but is it like $8 now?
I think it went up. I think it's like $12 or.
No, I'm saying minimum wage is at least 12 right now, and people are really pushing for 15.
Yeah.
But I'm saying people who make tips, like that's their job. They make tips. Do you think they're still making less than that? Like $8, $7?
I think it depends on where they're working.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, like, I remember. I think it was Uber. That wasn't in the beginning when Uber kind of first started. They might have changed. It's been a minute, but they weren't supposed to tip them because it worked in their pay, how much they were making. But it was already included, so you didn't need to tip them. But then I remember just like the rapport when you do with the taxi, like, remember that was always a tipping element, was the taxi. Like, I remember taking taxis in Tempe and just being like, they would like demand tips.
Yeah.
They would like, it'd be
you
like,
cheap mother.
I mean, they would be like greedy. And it just would be, me being like a broke ass kid out there. I remember taking taxis and just sort of like arguing. Reminds me of the half-baked when Dave Chappelle's like, man, just be happy with the tip I gave you.
You should be kissing my ass.
But, so when, I think it was Lyft came out a little bit later and they had that option to tip.
Yeah.
I remember it was like, oh, okay, so it was a little different, but I don't know how the businesses were run, but
yeah,
tipping was kind of like, how do we tip in this new kind of weird age where the cars are almost like, it feels like just some dude's car,
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
some people I've heard, I haven't exactly been in these types of rides, but some people are like, they keep their shit clean. I think that's a minimum requirement, but they keep their shit clean. They have like a new fresh car smell, and they got bottled water, maybe a couple snacks. Like, some people go all out now.
Yeah.
Does everybody get a tip, or does that person deserve a tip? Like, I feel like we're in a weird time right now, like weird time where it's like you're an asshole if you don't tip, right? Am I wrong?
Well, so I was gonna say, like, when you're talking about that, like with the person that has a good smelling car and they're giving you ice cold water, and I think with that they're more asking that you leave a good review and you give them a good rating.
Do you think that's better than a tip?
Maybe that's. I bet you that has something to do with the tip, because then maybe you're getting more jobs.
Yeah. More options, more opportunities. Interesting. That's interesting. I got a question. Were you ever the person where you show up and somebody else is buying food and then you're like, oh, I'm going to drop the tip. Don't drop a tip, I got it, because you got my meal. You ever that guy?
Yeah. It's weird because that whole experience hasn't been that way in a while, where you'll roll up to a restaurant with another group, That's kind of, feels like I haven't been in that kind of situation in a long time.
Damn.
Because, you know, where multiple people would meet at a restaurant and do it up, like, so it's like that's not really a thing anymore. But yeah, I used to. Feels like it. I haven't done that anymore. I mean,
all right, when you did,
yeah, of course, I was like, oh, I got the tip, or.
And would you do 20%? Would you like, oh, what's the bill, or would you just open your wallet like, oh, this is what I got, and slap it down, knowing full well it wasn't equal to your meal, it wasn't equal to a 20% tip, but. I was once in a relationship and like she was like gun ho about waitresses and all that, and I threw down a $5 tip and I was like, oh, that's a good tip right there, and she threw a couple bucks on top of it like, you cheap son of a bitch, these people have to work, they have to work for a living. You think they're wearing comfortable shoes? And I was like, whoa. Like, all right. I at the time I was like, damn, that's a good tip right there. I gave him a good tip. And she like threw more bucks on it, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was partially insulted, but at the same time, I was like, "Okay, all right."
Yeah. Maybe if you haven't done the job, you really don't know what they go through, and that's why I think. I don't know. I never thought about that. It's always like if they get the order right, and they fill your drinks.
Yeah.
And they're, I guess, somewhat friendly. You know. When you were saying like, are they bothering you, or are they? Because I think there's almost like that certain point where they're almost too there. They're too much there.
Like a dog humping your leg. Like, get on me, man. Get on me. I'm trying to eat.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, maybe, and then sometimes, too, like, not to say someone can overdo it, but, like, sometimes someone can overdo it. I'm, like, annoyed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like, this fucking guy.
It kind of is like a...
Yeah, bro, we got it.
Personality read, but it's like,
yeah.
Like I said, like if we had a good time and I have it like that, I will be like, nah, I got the tip, but like, I haven't been in that situation in a while to where, I think it's always just putting the tip on the card.
Are you talking? Oh, sorry. Are you talking COVID? It hasn't been that way in a long time, or
yeah. COVID hasn't
life
been
in general.
And maybe that too. I think like almost going places with other adults where everyone's kind of like trying to throw their card down, like who's got this.
Yeah.
I think that's where it always be like that. Where, well, if you're paying the bill, then I want to pay the. I think that's always just kind of like I don't know if that's just me or if it's always like, you're doing something nice, so I want to do something nice.
Yeah.
It's just, I think the person that benefits is the person that's getting the tip, because it's just like, again, I think it reflects the good vibes, Like if you had a good time at the restaurant, then why not?
Alright, I kind of want to be devil's advocate here, or just be the opposite of that and throw this out there. Are you going to eat, or are you going to have a good time, or both? Are you going to a restaurant going, oh, let's have a good time, guys, or is it like, let's go eat this shit and get out of there?
I'm trying to have a good time.
Okay, all right.
I mean, not like
Mr. Fun Times.
I think it's maybe, I don't know, I always associate eating out to like celebrating. You're eating out.
Yeah.
But if you're at a restaurant where tipping is kind of expected, or you got a waiter that's waiting on you, and they're bringing you a custom order, like the tip's kind of, I don't want to say it's a faux pas if you don't tip.
Nice.
But
breaking out the French, I love it.
We're at a place where tipping is kind of required, but we wouldn't be here if we didn't have enough for the tip. So it was almost like if we came here, we had a good time, meaning it wasn't a bad experience. If I found like a hair in my food,
God.
I might not tip. That might not even be the way.
But is it his hair though? His or her hair?
I don't know, but again, it's like that's
place.
not having a good time.
That's not having a good time.
So there's like
no
this
tip.
uncontrollable part of it, and it's in the person that's getting the tip's hands to.
There was a pubic hair in the salad. No tip. No tip. That is not a good time.
Not a good time, man.
Okay.
But you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
I get it happen, and from you getting there to you leaving, that will throw it off, and you could care less if they feel they earned the tip or they got the tip. So,
I keep thinking about another Dave Chappelle moment, and I think it was on the Chappelle show, but he was like, this guy who got knocked down from being all good to like having a shitty life, and he's like, I think he's like a gas station attendant or something like that, and he's like washing the windows, pumping the gas, and the dude goes to tip him like $2, and he's like, $2? He throws it in his face like, man, I got kids. Like, get out. Like, chucks the dollars at him like, man, $2. Man, I got kids. And just throws it at him like all pissed off. What an asshole. I don't know. I just had to bring that up.
No, I was gonna say like, but all of them, do you tip if they take the tip out?
Oh, dude, there's some new shit going on. I haven't encountered it personally. Maybe it was on like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think that's what it was on. But it was like there was a tip your waiter and a tip the manager line, and I think it was like gratuity or something. Like it was like, and gratuity. We got to talk about gratuity, but it was like, oh, I'm the supervisor tonight, and you didn't tip me. And it was like, yeah, but you didn't really do anything. You didn't bring me my drinks. So, yeah, but I'm the supervisor. It's like, yeah, but you didn't really do anything. You didn't fill my drinks. You didn't come see how I am. You didn't bring out the food. You just stood there. It's like, yeah, but there's a line there where you're supposed to tip the supervisor. And it's like, no, it just blows up and becomes this huge thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those points where it's one of those high class restaurants where there are those like services that you don't know you're paying for. But then I think of like what the fuck was that place? I don't know, it's just it's like is it the hostess, or what's the person that like almost like sets up the
greets you at the door, walks you to your table,
and sets up your what do you call it, your reservation?
Okay, yeah,
like they're kind of expecting something too.
Stick $1 in their cup.
But I remember there was also this point where there was this restaurant where, because I said, like, people will tip, but they'll tip on the card. So with the way it works with the card is like either like a manager or somebody that has to kind of go back in and add in those numbers. Because it's like you got to get the physical money at the end, but like what this restaurant was doing was the owner of the restaurant was just taking those tips for themselves, and they weren't giving it to the waiter, which became a complaint because the person that was leaving the tip wasn't leaving it for the manager or the owner of the restaurant. Yeah. They're leaving it for the guy, the waiter that's doing the actual service.
Yeah.
So
the manager's like, "You're welcome."
So I guess like when we tip, are we tipping the establishment or are we tipping the person hosting us in the establishment? Because I can kind of see both applying.
My amount has definitely increased, and I'm definitely aware of the whole faux pas and all that. But it's like, I think I still kind of hold it to the value of what's gone on here, the service.
Yeah.
But maybe now I'm like, do they get 15 or do they get 20? Or like, do they get 10 or 20? Like, you're still getting a tip because it's fucked up not to, but how much am I giving you? I think that was always crystallized in me by my parents. Like, I still carry that. Like, you don't really deserve a tip, pal. I was sitting here drying up in the middle of the desert. I didn't get a drink. Like, you're screwed up. Like, yeah. There's pubic hair in my plate. Like, Yeah, I definitely has always been the waiter.
The performance.
I actually have a question for you because you said you got it like that, right? Like you're like, oh, if I got it like that, if I got it like that, I'm going to restaurants and tipping. If you don't got it like that, maybe you shouldn't be at the restaurant. That's kind of the thinking that's going on here. It's almost like a culture shift. But let me bring up a little example here. Where I valeted was at like a Marriott, and what we generally saw was a lot of the people were there. It was like a resort, all right. It was a resort up in the mountains. And what we generally saw, I saw hookers for sure. Like, they would drive up in these beady-ass cars, and they'd come in all dressed up, and then they'd just go sit at the bar. Which was crazy. I was like, wow, they really are real. And they got tips on different levels. Anyway, what we generally saw were people who were there on vacation, people who were there on business, and then there was these people that they only stayed in resorts. You know what I mean? And they had it like that. They would show up, they'd have a handful of ones or whatever, and they'd just be like, here, the guy opening my door, here, the guy that's taking out my bags, here, the guy at the door, here, the lady, like, they were just like, pop, 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 I got you. And then they came out, and they're like, pop, 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 hitting everybody on the way out. And we love those people. It's like, oh, hey, good. Hey, there he is. Get his door. Don't let him open his own fucking door. Get his door. And like, it was like that. We all rushed to make sure this guy, he didn't do nothing but walk through, drop dollars, and get in his car and leave. He was taken care of. I think occasionally, if it was, I wouldn't want to say like a name brand or anything, but like if we saw like a regular, there was even regulars. Like that, they had a golf course up there, so they were always there for golf. Sometimes we'd keep their car right there, like on the front lawn, like ready to go just in case they showed up and wanted to go somewhere. So like they had it like that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that? Because like some people will come in and they got like they're on family vacation. They got like the family van. They're full of kids. They all come out. They all got the luggage and like backpacks and trash bags with clothes in them. And they're like and they're like stressed out. And they look all disheveled. and you're like, give me tips. It's like, no, you're probably not gonna get a tip, right?
I mean, never judge.
All right, yes. I have. I've definitely been surprised by some people. Like they were just. What's interesting is the ones that were on that level, and they still tip, like they got it like that. It was like, wow, you're a really nice person. How about that? Like how when you were getting tips, did you equate getting tipped by somebody with kindness? Is that a kindness when you were getting it, or was it more like a gratuity?
Okay, so I remember a few times when doing the wheelchair job where I would take somebody and I would, again, it's the hospitality of like, you know, being able to spark up a conversation in that time. I mean, not to say that that's what it took to get tips, but I think that was also a part of it where you were like, you know, conversating with them, you know, trying to make them feel comfortable, going to their next.
Yeah, it's a long ways, right?
So, yeah, so there's like this short time where you're kind of like building a connection or
a rapport,
sharing information, whatever. Like there would be a time when it would come to an end with whoever the person was, and they would realize that, oh, you were very nice and you were very hospitable, but they would be like, I don't got no money on me, like it would. And it would be like, oh, okay, I mean, you don't, it's not required that you tip, and, you know, I'm doing my job, so it's not like, but I think it was just the fact that they were saying that was like, oh, man, like, how should I be expecting that? And I don't know, it's like this kindness, but then I remember another time where it was a husband and wife, and they were very elderly, and I was able to take them both with me to their, I think it was their son or another relative that was picking them up. And I mean, boom, threw down $40.
Damn.
And you know, I thought it just seemed more of like, you know, thanks for taking care of my family, or thanks for taking care of my parents.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, not to say you're doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but it was like, I appreciate you looking after my mom and my dad for this short like from them getting off to finding wherever their car was at.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have to take them into their car, or if they're parked in the what do you call it? Those big old structures.
Yeah, parking garages.
Yeah. Parking garages, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It was just sometimes it was like respect because you're doing something for the family, but it was also where it was like they're appreciating the exchange, but even if they didn't have money, they were still telling you, thank you. But I don't know, it does kind of feel weird where you shouldn't expect it, but then if it comes, then you're just grateful. But I guess there shouldn't be, I don't know, it's like, I did this, so where's my money now, versus, like, I don't know, like, not to say that not everybody has it like that, but, like...
But you're going to say that anyway?
I think not everyone understands it like that.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes along the lines where I was like, when we pulled our tips, and there was people that just kind of blasé, did their job, minimum, bare minimum. It's like, you lazy son of a bitch. Like who? We're all pulling this. Could you at least make an effort to do a good job? Huh?
No, you didn't put in on this.
You just put in on this? Yeah. What was I going to say? Okay, I got another kind of scenario. Have you ever had a job where they strictly told you couldn't take tips?
Yeah.
I was like, I did that, and it was kind of like, I didn't care either way, like, they want to tip me, cool, whatever, but like, we had a job where, I told you, I work at the hardware stores, and they would call out a code from the register. They'd ask, hey, would you like any assistance out to your car? And like, I'd be at the other end of the store, and they'd call the code, and if I wasn't doing anything, I'd just start, hoofing it that way, just kind of a little bit of a hustle. I'd go over, like, they got something big, like a big-ass toilet, or like a washing machine, or something crazy, and they're like a 95-year-old, and they want you to fit that shit in like a Geo or something, like a little-ass car. I'd come huff it up, say, hey, give them a smile, like, how you doing? Like, oh, did you find everything you're looking for? Like, what do you got here? Like, where you parked? Like, let's go get this thing loaded up. And I'd load them up, just chatting them up, like, oh, it's a good day today, whatever. Oh, like, lovely weather, whatever. And then we were told in the beginning, hey, no tips. And I if they want to give me a tip, cool. But like, usually what I would tell them was like, oh, no, like, they were like, oh, here, take $1. Like, they'll watch me load it and shit, and then they'll have money ready. And they try to hand it to me, and I just put up my hand and start walking away. I'm like, no, it's okay. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. And like, I just say that. Yeah. And it felt good. Like, yeah, I got it. It's all right. And I walk away, and, sometimes they'd be like, oh, like, thank you. Like, this is a great place. I'm going to come back and shop here again. They'd be like that. And they'd go with a little bit of lightheartedness as they leave the store. But, like, I've also had people, like, shove money in my hand. They're like, take it. Like, nah, take this. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And like, I start walking away, and I like grab my hand and put the money in, and they like run away. I'm like, whoa, like, okay. I'm like, all right, thanks. Couple of bucks, whatever. Like, you walk away, you try not to like look, then you look, see what you got. Like, oh, what is this? After a while, like, I learned to just take, if somebody, like, it was almost like you were saying, the kindness, or if you got it like that, like they want a tip, just take the tip.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I felt like I was insulting people. Like, nah, you need your money, keep it. Like, no, it was never that way on purpose, but I've had people like shove money in my hand, or they just wouldn't take no for an answer. You have any scenarios like that in your mind right now?
No, just I remember the only thing I can think of is UPS, where, like, sometimes you deliver to places where they know you, and maybe around the Christmas time, where people's in giving moods, and they just want to just throw out cash, or maybe you do actually like that, like you do some heavy lifting for them and help them out, and they want to be appreciative, but yeah, that was always kind of like, but another thing too was just even accepting gifts.
Jesus.
Like there's just sort of like this.
Like what?
No, like I think they just, whatever they had, like the business. I remember there was I can't say that I took any gifts or any gifts.
I was sitting here like, easy, Sky, easy. We all know your name, Sky.
It's just change the topic. No, but I mean, I think like, I remember like, you think when you go to an office, and you go to like these suites where there's like multiple offices, and they have, they just have gifts, and they're just like giving them out. Like, I don't know. I can't. Like I said, like you're not supposed to take them, so you can't take them. But like, you gotta be like, I can get in trouble, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, and I think it's more like, why don't you just go leave it over there at that trash can? And, I think it has to be hush-hush with being able to go around to get those. But, but by the company policy, like, you're not supposed to take any gifts.
Company, man.
I'm just saying, like, I was always like, because some people want to just give you money. Like, you're bringing them their package, probably they're waiting on it.
Yeah.
Why? And again, too, like, some people don't post them. People don't tip the post.
Yeah. I got two examples here. One was I started joining the delivery service a little bit, like whenever they were short-handed, and I think people, I'm a big guy, so people were like looking at me and they go, "Hey, could you help him? Like, this is some heavy shit." And like, I think the delivery guy was tiny, like that didn't make sense to me. But anyway, he was like a little guy, like real skinny, kind of small. And I mean, hey, well, whatever. Anyway, we would do these like long deliveries. We'd leave town and go to like Vail or like Marana, like outside of Tucson. I actually did several delivery jobs like that, and once we delivered, I worked for like a landscaping / garden kind of company, and we went and delivered like this, like, it was like a 3-tier fountain, and there was like 2 or 3 of us, and like this thing was massive, and like the only way you could move it is by like walking it, like rolling it, but like it's cement, so you don't want to damage it. And the people that given us, like, they're just like, "Hey fellas, have lunch on us," and they gave us like a couple, like $20, $30, and we're like, "Oh, hey, thank you, man, that's great." Like, they can see us like we're sweating it out, like dripping sweat. We're like, and they're like, "Hey, thanks for not damaging my fountain. Like, it's perfect." They even had us like adjust it after we dropped it where it needed to go. They're like, "Nah, a little more this way, that way," and then they're like, "Oh, here, fellas, why don't you have lunch on us?" Like, I always liked that. It was like just it was like, "Hey, have lunch on us." It wasn't like, "Hey, take money, you need it." It wasn't like, "Hey, here's a treat." It was just like, "Hey guys, it's a hot day. Why don't you get yourself some sodas or get yourself a drink or get yourself a lunch?
Yeah.
Get yourself a burger on us." I always liked that. So that was the one example. I think the other place we went to 2 other examples on the same kind of job. We went to like this really old school, and they were replacing. I think they were remodeling the place, so we were delivering something like 20 toilets, all boxed up, but they're all like 100 pounds. And so we got there, and we started unloading them, and these like, I think they were maintenance workers that came out, and they like started lending a hand. We're like, "No, we got it, guys." And like, we brought in the first 2, and then halfway coming out, they already had the other 2 coming in. We're like, "Oh, like, all right, fuck it, like, cool. Yes, I don't mind having help. Like, go for it, guys. You're gonna do it anyway, even though we already told you no. Like, go for it." And like, we still had 20 to go. It was like 18, 16. So I was like, all right, we knocked it all out. We got all sweaty, and like, we're all looking at each other at the end, like, "Good job, fellas." Like, yeah, like a couple of high fives. Like, yeah, good job. Like, thank you. And they're like, "Thank you," and like, cool. And we all just left, and it was like this mutual understanding of like, "Hey, this is a heavy job. Good job."
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another guy where we were delivering like these giant woodworking tools, and then big like slabs of lumber, like the heavier duty, like really nice plyboards. Not like the crap that everybody buys, but like the really nice veneered or whatever, like just really good looking wood, solid. And this guy is like, "Hey, you guys made sure you got it here quick. You got us a good piece of wood. It wasn't all marred and jacked up. Like, thank you." And he gave us 20s, whatever. Like, good job. And we're like, cool beans. Like, this works out. So, we just took it. It's like, no problem. But it was one of those jobs where, like, hey, you don't take tips. And I was like, yeah, well, we did a good job. I was like, screw it, we did it. And then, alright, so that's like delivery jobs, real work, like heavy work. And there's different examples there, people being grateful for the help, and us being grateful.
Yeah.
And then the other example was my son's mom, my baby's mom. She like gets like deliveries all the time, like it's like FedEx and Amazon and all that, UPS. So she gets them so often. What she started doing was she would make she got this tin little tub, and decorated it with all the symbols of all the different services. And then it said, "Thank you guys, help yourself." And she'd fill it with ice and put like during the summer, she'd put like a little pile of bags of chips, and then she'd have like teas and sodas and Gatorades, and just says, "Hey guys, thanks a lot for the delivery. Help help yourself."
Yeah.
And some dudes, they come and just drop the box and get the hell out of there. Some people would see it and then they go, "Oh, cool," and they take a drink and a bag of chips and they go on their way. Like, I know you've done it where, you're working until you're done, like until your truck's empty, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, getting a snack or a bite to eat all of a sudden unexpected. It was pretty sweet. And that kind of just shows how she is. It's like, man, when I saw her doing that, I was like, wow, that's cool. That if I were a delivery man, I'd really appreciate a cold drink, an ice cold drink in the middle of the summer, while I'm doing these deliveries that it's kind of a thankless, no tip job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think it kind of reminds me of the Perks episode.
Perks?
Remember when we were talking about that, like our old jobs and.
Oh, okay.
Talking about Perks, and I remember I think it was 7-Eleven. With UPS with the drivers. I think they let them have like free fountain drinks or like free hot dogs or something. There's something in there where they have all that. They did have sort of those little snacks available if you have one in your area, but that is pretty
smooth. Yeah, very thoughtful. So anyway, that I think we're kind of rounding this out as like there's unspoken words, there's tradition, and there's I also wanted to bring up, like you were saying, or I was saying, we've said that we kind of learned from our parents how to tip. You kind of say, "What's those dollars on the table?" Or then, we're grading them. Here's $2 just because it's a tip, and then here's 5 or 10 if they're doing really well. Another thing I got used to, you mentioned people on the street. During Christmas time, there'd be the Santa Clauses with the bell.
Oh, yeah.
And as a kid, like, I got so used to that, like, I kind of felt like they were training me. I mean, I liked it so much because you donate it. So it was like, you see a man on the street with a sign, we'd start, like, patting our pockets and searching the car for anything we got, a couple of bucks, quarters, whatever, like, oh, look, there's a guy, and, like, as a kid, I got so used to that I was like, there's someone there, like, oh, get some money, like, oh, let's do it, like, or during Christmas time, like, Mom, you guys got anything, or like, they'd be like, oh, tell them we'll get them when we come out, and I'd throw the money in, and they're like, oh, thank you, they're ringing the bell and all that, Merry Christmas. I always liked that. That was like one practice that always stuck with me, It's not exactly a tip, but it's like donation.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got anything like that? Like, what do you think about donating? Or let's talk about the homeless right now.
Well, so I was just thinking of, like, there's somebody that's standing on the cross lanes or they're selling newspapers, and kind of asking for money, or you know they need money.
Yeah.
I mean, it does feel, I don't know, it's sad, just you feel there's some type of feeling where I can give them something, or I don't know what that is, if that's, you feel good because you did something nice, or I don't know. I remember just growing up feeling like, oh, cool, they're gonna use this money and they might need it to go get something to eat.
Yeah.
But then I think as I got older, it was more, not so much, because this has come up too, where again saying I got it like that when maybe I don't got it like that. But I think, when you're a kid, you're not really thinking finances all the time. But then as you get older, you start to realize your finances are all you got.
Yeah.
So it's like
college life, yeah.
I don't know if I mean, it's almost like I stopped giving to the homeless because, I mean, not to say I stopped, but it's almost like I remember wanting to always give change to those people on the side of the streets, but now I don't really, if ever. But I don't know if that's just more like, I don't know, man. I was thinking of this Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley argument where Charles Barkley gives this guy, this homeless guy, money, and Michael Jordan's saying why'd you give him any money? He can talk, he can apply for a job at McDonald's, it's just kind of like this. But I mean, I think that's another episode where it's the homeless in America, where where there's a lot of reasons why they're there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stipulations and complicated scenarios probably, so it's I don't know, I guess I'm more aware of that too, where will my $2 help, or I can use these $2 for what, I don't know, I don't know, maybe I'm more conscious of it, and I'm man, I can't give you enough to help where you're at right now.
You think that's a grown-up thing, you've learned more, and with experience you've decided you ain't the guy, they're not the guy, I ain't gonna do it?
I don't know, because then I think of going to Marina, or even Tijuana, where there'll be little kids just begging for money, and then they make little money and then they go give it to their mom, or just sort of they're working.
They're contributing.
To have their family, or I don't know. It's just more of a there's a system where they're all combining their money, but with the homeless, it's individually, you don't know what's what. And so, I guess kind of seeing it in a lot of different angles, and I don't know, I think there's a lot to it, to where, maybe it's something like a can of worms. I always bring up that statement, but it's a can of worms where you don't want to even think about why this person is where they're at, because it's almost that elephant in the room. You're just ignoring it because again, what are you going to do to change the situation? But then it's like, ignoring it is kind of like fucked up too. So,
yeah.
But me saying that, I'm like, damn, like, I can't help you, like, but damn, I don't know. Maybe and you're a kid, a couple quarters is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or if you think it has a lot of value, but in reality, it ain't shit. I don't know, man.
What if there's a billion children that all feel that way and they all gave a quarter? And you have a quarter of well, it's not a quarter of $1 billion, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a substantial amount of money if enough people give to an organization. So that's an organization for the homeless, but not directly to the homeless. What about the guy with a cardboard that just says, "Hey, let's be honest, I want to get a beer." You give that guy money? Maybe this is for the homeless episode.
No, I mean, I think too. Like, I remember. I think it's too, like, if there's money laying around in the car.
Yeah.
Like, if there's quarters in the crevices of the wherever in the cup holder. So I remember one time we were getting Starbucks, or it was a Dutch Bros, and there was a homeless guy like asking for money, and of course the stoplight has to stop right when we pull up face to face, and one of the kids, he happened to have change, so we just started scraping up all the change he had in the car, and we just gave it to the dude. But like, I think it's like, again, you feel good when you give somebody something, but like, again, from an adult standpoint versus a kid standpoint, like, oh yeah, I'm giving this guy money, but if from an adult standpoint, it's like, this ain't a lot of money to do anything, man. Like, you know, like, in the situation you're in, it's almost like disrespectful, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was just sort of like, if there's money there, even just like walking out of a grocery store, and there's somebody like in the parking lot, and they're like, like they start giving you their story, and if I have a couple of dollars, maybe I'll bust it out. But if I don't, like, I would say, "No, sorry, man, I can't help you." Like, at that current moment, I mean, I don't have no physical money to give you.
Or like, their mom's sick, and their car just broke down, and they got to take their mom to the doctor in Phoenix, but they have no gas, and their dog just died, and you know, their foot got run over, so now they're gonna lose a toe. Cause you just give me whatever you got. Like, I got you, bruh.
It's a lot.
I kind of tune out when they're just giving me like 1,000 stars, and it's like, dude, just leave me alone. Like, I'm waiting for a moment. I'm waiting for a break in your stories to tell you I have no money for you. All right. I think we've gone a little too deep off this into homelessness and that.
Well,
I mean, it kind of counts, but it's like
it does.
I think we should do a homeless episode, and then we'll come back to that, because like I think we can go deeper and deeper, and this is kind of like a rabbit hole off of the tipping and gratuity.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So how about we go to go back to the article here?
Yeah.
And because I read the titles, and I read a few of these ideas. So one of them was tipping delivery drivers, and I think we kind of covered that. But I want to go into like hotels. The next one's hotels. They're saying hotel porter toting your bags. There's room service with gratuity included on the bill. room service without gratuity.
Oh yeah.
Toiletry, towel delivery, doorman if he hails you a cab, concierge who fulfills guest requests, housekeeping. So, at a hotel, I think I've rarely tipped unless, like, we left the room disheveled or it was a nicer hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of expected. But, like, I've never done it at, like, the no-tell motel, you know? Like, I've never... Oh, let me leave a 20 on the dresser for you. Like, I'm looking at this. Like housekeeping in my mind is the only people who should be getting paid there. But like I said, in my experience at like the resort, there's the doorman, there's the valet, there's the concierge, there's the dude pushing the bell cart to get your bags out of your car, taking it all the way to your room, dropping you off, showing you where it's at. Tip that guy. You know, maybe, yeah. Would you?
If I have it on me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like, how many of us carry cash these days?
I mean, I think if you're, well, maybe if you're going to one of these nice hotels. I was in the beginning. I was like, I don't tip at hotels, but kind of reading these, was it the DoubleTree? Not the DoubleTree.
Yeah.
The DoubleTree? Okay. No, the Hilton. Yeah,
okay.
The Hilton.
Yeah.
I've been to the Hilton.
Whoa.
And I'm a member, so I kind of
got it like that. Is that what you're trying to tell us, guys?
No, they got a restaurant in the hotel. And I remember it was cool. It was one of these moments, kind of like the Hardy moment when you said like, put it on my tab, you know.
Oh.
It was cool because the restaurant's with the hotel, so we were getting drinks at this bar.
Charge it to your room.
It was like, hey, we're staying here. I'm staying here. You know, I'm a grown up. With all my car, you know, I was just like, hey, put it on room.
Whatever.
100, you know.
Put 100 on 100.
Yeah. So it was one of those times where it was like, you know, you tip it on your card.
Yeah.
Or whatever you say, and it's just like, yeah, tip it to my room. You know?
Wow.
So
adult. So grown.
So yeah, I have tipped my room service, but it was the room service person. So
interesting.
But housekeeping, damn, I think maybe I should. If I do leave it a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I used to live with a homeboy, and his lady was a housekeeper. And like they would find shit, and like if it wasn't claimed, like they all get a chance at getting it, or if like they're the ones who found it. So like if there was beer, they just took it home. But if it was like a laptop or tablet, they go, oh, we report it. And if nobody claims it in a week, they're like, I'm the one who found it, and they give it to them. So that was like, I mean, that's not gratuity, that's not tip. It's like you fucked up, and then now it's theirs.
Well, that's finders keepers.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. But like, I was always like surprised. She'd come home with beers and like, yeah, these guys are partying it up, you know, like got this beer, like cool, well, like let's drink it, you know.
Yeah, no, those are perks.
Oh yeah, that's a job perk for sure, right there. So yeah, like that was kind of interesting. Like I'm sure they got tips too, but I thought that was like an extra little thing that kind of went on. It was an unspoken thing.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that that's how the hotel handled it. I was like, oh, they put a ticket on it with the housekeeper's name. And they go, all right, well, we'll put it in reserve, and if they don't call in a week, it's yours. And I'm like, cool. Wow. They get it. They just take it home. They'd handle it. Laptops, whatever. I mean, most people wouldn't leave something like that. They're like, I'm going to find this shit. You know, I'm going to go back to the hotel. I know exactly what room we're in. Like, I'm going to go back and get this. Like, but some people got it, you know. Chips. I think when it was a casino hotel, they get chips.
Yeah.
Players chips and all that. Like, it was interesting to see.
Nice.
All right. Moving on. Unless you got something else.
No, I think I should tip my. I never thought about tipping them, but yeah.
Who? Housekeepers?
Housekeepers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have, but I'm usually staying in places where I don't feel compelled to.
Yeah. Well, so there are levels to the hotels, I guess. That I would tip at versus, you know.
What's kind of funny about that is it's almost opposites. Like, the person who really needs the tip is probably the person working at the smaller hotel. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
You would think they made more if they're working at a really nice resort.
It feels like the more upper echelon hotels I've been to are the ones that got pretty trash. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking that too. Like, all right, if we trashed the room, somebody threw up on the toilet. There's, it was partied out, and there's half-empty beers everywhere. Maybe a little glass. You know, maybe a little shit on the walls. I don't know. Like, I'd never shit on the wall, but I'm saying maybe there's a little shit on the wall. Let's tip the house cleaner. You know, let's give them a little tip. Throw a little something. A little something for you. A little something for you, buddy. I know. This isn't going to be pretty. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's more not the damage, but just, I guess the damage in the sense of them having to clean up. And well, more than the past 5 rooms they just did, where they just tossed the sheets and all that. They come into this room and, like, shit on the walls. You know, like, damn it. Who are these animals? Well, I was going to say, like, there's been hotels where I stayed at, they're nice, but it was like, I wasn't there enough to feel like I spent time there. Like, I would just, like a tournament or something, like, I would go to the hotel, go to sleep, and then in the morning we're up early, and I'm not there at the hotel to say I should tip anybody, because I mean, I just slept there. There was not to say there was no hospitality, but it's not like I'm leaving a big mess for the housekeeper to be, like, stressing, you know. So I don't know. So it's like we use, like you were saying, like the different type of hotel people. Yeah. The ones that are kind of just crashing out and they got stuff to do, or there's ones that are actually chilling there and not using all the stuff. Yeah. And that's another thing too, is like some hotels have more things that you can tip on, you know, like I remember in Mexico where it was like a buffet style breakfast place, but there was a tortilla maker, and she just there just rolling tortillas and burning them as you would just come and get one. Oh yeah. And she had a mean ass tip jar. And there would just be people just throwing in dollars, getting fresh tortillas from her. Oh, yeah. I always remember that. Good for her. I was like, that was a cool gig, because she was just there just making tortillas, but people would be throwing in cash left and right. Nice. Yeah, there's nothing like some house tortillas, man. That's cool. Yeah. So, but, I mean, that was an extra service at the hotel, you know? Yeah. That you could throw money at. So nice. It just seems like some hotels have different things going on to where, you know, you're throwing money at them. Yeah.
Huh.
The last hotel I was at when I was for a wedding, they had the bar, of course, and that's you sit there, but then they also had almost like it wasn't a concession stand, but it was like a convenience store, but almost within the lobby of the hotel.
Yeah.
And everything was like really expensive, but it was like you didn't need to go anywhere else. You could just do it at the hotel.
So convenience tax.
Yeah. So I mean, even that, like, that's kind of, I don't want to say that's a tip, but it's also sort of like another way to get money from the person staying at the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... Alright.
Here we go.
So what's next?
Alright, so the next one is like how to tip while traveling, but I don't really care to do this one. It looks like a lot of drivers. I see, we already talked taxi, there's ride-sharing service, and Uber, Lyft, limousine driver, that makes sense. There's like airport shuttle driver, curbside check-in, a lot of 3, 5, 10, 20%. I don't want to talk about that. Like I do occasionally. I think I'd be more likely to tip a limousine driver or a taxi driver or Uber, Lyft. We've done that. The next couple ones are what I want to get into, and I just want to read a little bit because when I first read it, I was like, fuck, is everybody supposed to be doing this? Like, or is it like, alright, so next one is how much to tip at weddings. And I was like, cash bar, baby, or like, you know, free, it's an open bar, baby. You're still going to be tipping, right? Like, you're still be throwing down. It says, wait staff, $20 or $50 per server for a sit-down meal, even more for the captain, depending on how lavish it is.
Ooh.
that just, they mentioned the captain. I'm like, When I started hearing this, like these types of tips, I'm like, all right, what are we at? We're at bank rate, and this is a personal finance article. I was like, who are they writing for? 'Cause, I mean, they say coat room attendant, $2 or $3 per guest. Bartender, $20 per hour. Bathroom attendant, $2. I gotta say, I don't dig the bathroom attendant. I mean, I definitely tip because I feel sorry, but it's like, leave me alone while I go do my business. You know? I'll pay you $2, so leave me the fuck alone. Maybe step outside real quick. But, I don't like that.
I think with that, I don't know. If it's just the fact that because like some of them don't have like cologne, like mints, gum, but they'll have a lot of different things that you're gonna want. But, I like that option of a guy in the bathroom like, having all this stuff. It was like, hey, you want this?
What about a dude that's just handing you a paper towel though?
I don't know.
Like I got it, bruh. I got it. And then I still give him $1 or $2 because it's like, poor guy, you gotta spill shit all day or something like that. You're at a bar, everybody's pissing out beer. Feel a little sorry for you. They're all pissing out Mai Tais. Here's $1, buddy. Like here's $1 or $2.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if they're making bank. Like how can they entice you to do that?
To me, it's like because I've seen some of these guys like either at, or a lot of times like at a strip club or a nightclub where there's just these guys in the bathroom and they just have all these different things that you can, like cologne or candy. I don't know, there's just a lot of cigarettes. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that's available.
Huh.
But to me, it's like somebody just has that on deck, and it's either like, let me chill in the bathroom, and I'll get whatever money comes, or like, I don't know, like almost working it out with the owner, being like, hey, can I chill in the bathroom and ask for tips? But I mean, I know it's weird, but it's just like, if you want to spray a cologne, you know, hey, they got it right there. Just give them a little tip.
Huh. Maybe I've never seen that level of hookup there.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have like the nice colognes.
I'm thinking like they're handing you a classic paper towel. They've got a candy dish, probably all covered in piss and maybe a little bit of shit, and I'm about to open that and put it in my mouth. I'm just not into it. I haven't seen the full setup. Apparently, you go into classier places than I think that's what's going on here. A strip club with an attendant. Wow.
But I mean, I've never been to a place where I needed to tip the coat room attendant.
Huh.
But I do see that on movies, so
yeah.
I guess I'm not hitting up. Or maybe it's just the weather, you know, like we ain't wearing no coats in Arizona, so
yeah,
there's no coat room at the restaurant. But maybe I'm just not going to those restaurants. Yeah.
Jeez. I'll tell you what. If there's a guy in a bathroom and he gives me cologne, little spritz, a towel, maybe a mint or two that are coming right out of the package or something, like something to carry home, you know, a little something, I don't know, like, oof. Like I said, I haven't seen it to the point of what you're describing, so I'm more peeved by the whole thing. I'm more like, no. But I still do it because the poor guy is standing in the bathroom all night. I don't know. Moving on? Are we moving on?
Nah, I think it's like, depending on the situation.
The level that we're at?
It could be classy or it could be kind of like what you're saying, dirty.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but the DJ, and I can imagine, like, say you're at a wedding, but the DJ is taking requests, like, if you,
okay, yeah.
If you want to hear a certain song, you want to hear some Will Smith or some Boyz II Men, and you tip them $20, $50 if you got it like that, but like,
yeah.
I can only see it as there's some type of interaction with the DJ, or there's some, I don't know, like, I've never, well, not to say like I've never like wanted to tip a musician, like, I mean, I guess like after like a concert, it's not like you like go to them and say I want to tip you guys, or I mean you think you show that with maybe buying merch, but it's not really I don't know if I'm getting off topic, but it's sort of like, unless they do a really good job and you're blown away by their DJ skills to where you're like, oh man, you deserve a tip. But like, if they play your favorite song or you request them to play some whatever, Whitney Houston, and they play it, and you know, I don't know, it just seems like yeah, I can see reasons to why it's tipping, but it's almost like it's not a mandatory thing, not listed. I don't know. I mean, unless they were doing some cool stuff, but like, I haven't seen any DJ do any like cool showmanship where it's like, oh man, they deserve a tip.
Man, give that guy a tip.
Yeah.
Alright, but if they're taking like all kinds of requests, then sure.
Oh yeah, I think too. I think that's another way a DJ will make tips is like, you know, the higher tip you give me, maybe I'll play that song.
Play a few songs like
sooner,
a fucking jukebox. Yeah.
I think it's like, oh, you pay me that, I'll play that right now versus it's gonna come on because.
Yeah, I'll add it to the list.
I don't think they don't really gotta play what you want them to play. So,
well, this crazy article says $50 to $150, and I'm like, this motherfucker better be my DJ, and I brought him. Like, I think that's what it is, but I'm just like, it sounds crazy.
Contract.
Yeah. So, but you did get me thinking. I was at a party, I guess months ago. I was gonna say recently, but it was months ago, and it was a house party, but they had a DJ and a bartender. And what ended up happening was, like, I was like, man, you're stuck behind the door. Like, I sat down with him before it all kicked off, and I was like, look, man, I was like, I got you. Just play some kick-ass shays. If you'll take some requests, I'll take care of you. He's like, cool. And instead of giving him tips, I was bringing him beers and drinks. I was like, all right, you know, don't get all smashed where you can't do your job, but like, hey, I'm going to bring you drinks, like bottled water, beers, every now and then, maybe a shot. And I felt like that was like giving the tips, like, hey, like, I got you. I'll take care of you because I know you're stuck behind this table.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when I saw 50 to 150, I was like, screw you. And then it says read the contract. I was like, okay, they're my DJ.
Well, so I was thinking of like, that's like, to me that's hospitality where, like, yeah, I got you on the beverages, you know, like you don't got to worry about that tonight. You know,
yeah.
Taking care of you.
Yeah, well, that's what I told him.
I think I too, like, I guess relating it to, because maybe that's another thing too, that's where we're kind of, our experiences are on the res a lot to where some of these things that they're talking about in the article are kind of very...
Yeah, it's a little strange.
An establishment maybe where everyone's trying to get a cut or something, but like...
Yeah.
I think of like musicians or the band where it's almost like, you know, the band's eating, the band has to eat because it's like, that's kind of a part of the...
Well, that's like ritual right there.
It's not, it's like, it's hospitality, but it's also like, you know, showing that respect of like, yeah, we're feeding our
musicians.
The musicians, but like...
Yeah, it's like, hey, the band's going to take a break, and we're going to feed them real quick, and they'll be back on shortly.
Yeah, but I think that's just the hospitality natural thing out here. I don't know if that's the same in a like you said, a contract where certain stipulations written out where they want certain things, but like feeding the musicians was, you know, kind of always a part of the... It's almost unspoken.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just...
Make the band some plates, yeah. Make them some plates, guys. Make them some plates, and then we'll bring them down. Roll up and be like, hey, guys, after this song, why don't you come eat?
Nice.
That's cool.
Huh. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like, we already have, so, like, I like that you brought it back to the res by going, alright, well, this is what we do have here, because some of this just kind of seems outlandish, like,
yeah.
How often am I chilling with a bathroom attendant, you know, or you know, I got room service and a doorman and this and that. Like, got delivery drivers coming in and out, like, you know.
I was gonna say, like, too, like, I don't know, I went to a wedding last year, but, like, sometimes weddings aren't always, I haven't been to a lot of weddings, so.
I I've always dug the
I've seen the movies.
open bar. I think you've done that. I don't know if it was a wedding, but I'm pretty sure you've done open bar.
Oh.
Where it's just like drinks, you roll up, finish your drink, come and get another one.
Yeah.
I feel like you've told me the story about that. I would tip per drink on that. Like, here's a drink. Got 3 drinks. Here's $3. Like, I was gonna say that it's not on this list, but bartenders.
Oh, it's on there.
Well, it's under weddings. I'm thinking down on 4th, or someplace with an open bar, which I guess would be a wedding. But I'm saying like,
like at a club or
like
or just a pub.
I would usually tell them like, hey, like I'm just gonna give you $1 a drink. So you give me 3 drinks, doesn't matter what they are, $3, and then like every time they serve me up, $3 or whatever, however many drinks I'm getting. And one bartender, only one. Usually they're like cool. They respond to it like, all right, well, when I see you, then I just keep tipping them all night. If I get a bunch of drinks, it goes slants towards their advantage. If I only get like a drink, like it's more my advantage. So it's like just keep them coming. And one time I said that to this bartender, and this lady, the other bartender heard it, and she came at me like, "Hey, like I serve everybody the same. You're not gonna get, you're not gonna get better service by paying me more." And she got all mad. I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I thought I was doing the right thing by giving, every drink I get, I'm tipping."
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can do the closeout at the end if you keep the open tab. And then when you close it out, have you ever done that? And then you throw down, what, 20%? Would you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, got me thinking of, just different times where it's like, well, I tipped you earlier.
Yeah. Like, damn, I gotta tip you every time? What is this shit?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought of it to where it's like, yeah, you keep coming to me and I'll keep tipping you, like.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that, but oh no, I guess some bars. I remember, but I think sometimes it feels like that because there'll be some bars where it'll be just like it felt like they're only going to certain people, and it was just sort of like you were just there, like.
Waving your money at them? Like, hey,
maybe they didn't think you had any chip money.
Yeah. Look at your club shirt and say, fuck this guy. your clubbing shirt with a hole in it?
Yeah, you ain't got nothing.
Yeah, you ain't got no tips.
We'll get to you, sir.
I'll get to you. I'll be right with you.
I don't really know about that one.
Okay.
To me, it was like you get a good sized tip, but I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's like if you're feeling generous. Yeah, maybe you will.
Yeah.
Maybe you will throw down.
Okay, I can dig that.
Every time. But yeah, I mean, I think of like. Maybe at the casino, like maybe you're winning a little, so you have some ones, and maybe you're winning and you're just feeling good, so it's like, yeah, here, keep the change, or so I don't know. I think. From that last episode, we're very in the moment, so it's like, I think it's like whatever's in my wallet is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a generous guy.
Yeah.
Today, right now in this moment, because I have it. But
yeah. I was gonna say that earlier. Like, if I got it, if I have enough to handle my needs, but I have a little extra, I'm a lot more likely to kick down some ends. Like give to the homeless guy, tip a little extra. 25%. I'm sure it's different. Payday versus the last day right before payday. Like I'm running a little low on funds here. People, please take it easy on my wallet. Yeah, it's well, I think we're kind of low in here, so I want to just hit these cardinal rules because I think it's breaking down at the very end what we're talking about here. Sky, I'm going to try to read them, but I've had like a scratchy voice all night, so I might need you to take over if I start coughing and choking here. So here we go. So back to the article. It says, Cardinal Rules for Tipping. Use common sense when tipping. The more difficult the task, the bigger the gratuity should be. The following are a few more guidelines for giving gratuities. Now, we've basically said all that, right? Like, they're doing, or maybe we haven't. They're lifting a bunch of big shit. I'm going to give them a couple bucks, like, thank you for breaking your back, and I didn't have to. So here we go. Default on the side of generosity. I like that. If you cannot afford to tip, acknowledge your appreciation in some other way, such as a handwritten card or a small gift. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
I like that.
See, I thought these guys were out of their minds as I was reading earlier. Like, who the hell are these people with the values they're putting in there? But I guess they make more sense. Here we go.
Don't get a card is nice. A handwritten card that sometimes that can make a big difference.
All right, you're a creative writer, so I think you can say that. Have you ever gotten a card like that?
Whatever.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've been surprised when I've gotten like a card in the mail from somebody. Like I didn't even know not to say I didn't know they have my address, but like I've never gotten mail from them. But then to get a card from them, it's
like a thank you card.
Yeah. I think it was a Christmas card, but it was like
thinking of you.
They wrote in it, and it was just. It was
cool.
Good stuff.
That's kind of a forgotten art.
I mean, I think letter writing too. I mean, I think in the prisons keeping it alive. As far as like everybody else is like not really.
Okay. Yeah, so you appreciate it. I can see the value in that. I didn't expect that on this list, so here we go. I like this. This is the darker letters. It says, don't regard tipping as optional. Many people who work for tips rely on them to earn a living. Therefore, it is a necessity, not an option. I think we said that, like the girl who slapped extra bucks on top of my tip, like I was a cheap piece of crap. She's like, they work for these tips. I used to be a waitress. Or my mom was a waitress. I think that's what it was. My mom was a waitress. I was like, okay, take it easy. I thought I was doing good. So, yeah. Like we mentioned already, like people who officially receive tips, like jobs that generally receive tips, they get paid less. Which I really think is bullshit. If the word minimum wage is used, then let's keep it minimum, people. That's pretty fucked up, don't you think? Tips or no. Like, if they get really outrageous, fantastic tips, then I think it's more like, good for you. You're probably doing something extra that makes you deserve that. Maybe. I don't know. But this whole minimum wage, oh, no, you don't get that because you get tips. I think it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, well, I think certain businesses follow the minimum wage, and maybe some other places don't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like where you're choosing to work at, but like What about? Can you think of any places where you think they do deserve a tip, but it's not a thing?
Car wash attendants. I think they're on tips, but like, you know, a lot of people just go to the machine, the washing machine, and drive out.
Yeah.
But the guy, you know, they come over and dry off the seams or whatever, the edges, and I don't ever get that. I get the wash, but it's like I see them out there, you know, bent over a car, rubbing the hell out of it, you know, getting everything all spiffy, you know, vacuuming. And it's like, hey, good job. That person probably deserves a tip. What about you? You got one in mind because you asked that?
No. I mean, I was just trying to think of like. I mean, I think I'm a mechanic, but then.
Yeah. Well, if they.
I think that's
get to your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, like, if you take it to a shop where, you know, you pay the bill, and, well, I don't know. I guess maybe that could be another weird setup.
Shout out to this guy that worked at Midas, and they were on like 6th Street, I think, right there by the VA. I came in and I said, look, I got $2,000 and I'm trying to get certain things fixed on my car, and it was like the heating, it was overheating a lot. And he worked with me, man. I think his name was Steve Lauzo or Steve Zauzo. It had Z's in his name, so shout out to him. He may never hear this, but if you guys have the chance to work with this guy, he worked at Midas, he's a mechanic. He did my job, and he asked for a little bit more, but what he had done was cut the labor costs and found me a couple of cheaper parts, and he knew I needed my car back, so he kind of put a little bit of a rush on it. And after that, I was like, dude, I'll just keep coming back to you after that. Like, thank you. You're a good man. I obviously couldn't afford what I just asked for, and you made sure I still got my car. So I was like, dude, if I ever have a problem again, I'm coming to you. You know, I just told him that, like, thank you.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't write him a handwritten letter, but I was like, you got my business, man.
Well, that would have probably evened it out. He probably would have appreciated it.
Yeah. Well, I'm giving him a shout out now, bro. He's on the podcast. Like, I don't even remember his last name. I knew it had Z's. It was like Lauzo, Steve. I think it was Steve. Good mechanic. If you guys have an opportunity, go find him. Okay. So that kind of did go on this next one. It says tip according to the service provided. You would not tip a restaurant worker who delivers a meal to your car more than you would someone who loaded heavy building material into the back of your SUV during a downpour. Shit, I've done that actually. Loaded brick, no tip. Like an entire pallet by hand, unpacked off the pallet, no tip. And it's not that I even expected one, but it was like, wow, we just broke our backs for you. Like, really went out of the way. And I felt a little insulted. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Thank you?
Huh? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. He's like, thanks, Phil. I was like, hey, good job.
I think that's where it's like...
I've gotten it and haven't gotten it.
Yeah, I think that's where it's like... Again, like... sometimes somebody's they're on their last dime. And,
or they just spend their wad.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be something else if it wasn't a thank you or a sign of appreciation.
Yeah.
But then, I think if it were not a naive thing or a carelessness to to what you're doing. I guess like the labor part of it, to where it's just like I paid for it. It needs to be in my truck. Like
yeah.
I think there are some people that live in that reality.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're just clueless to that, and that would piss me off.
You know what, Sky? You are a sweetheart. You're a maybe it's because you're an Aquarius. I don't know, but I've had it happen so many times where somebody will buy an entire pallet. It's like big pallet of block, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna drive around," and they come around and they're in this tiny car, trying to take a 4,000 to 5,000 pound pallet on this 2,000 pound car, and we've had to do like, all right, come back in three paces and we'll load you 3 times. I've done that, and I've had thank yous and no thank yous, and in the end, yeah, it's my job. It was my job to maybe not to go above and beyond like that, but how else were they going to get their stuff,
Yeah.
A thank you would be nice, I think. Like, at the very least. I think that's kind of what they were saying here is, like, if you can't, what was the words? If you cannot afford a tip, acknowledge your appreciation. I like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that's what I've been trying to say this whole time.
Oh, okay.
It's like there's a level of, like, exchange, and again, we don't always have it like that, but if it's sincere and you appreciate it and you can show it, then it's kind of like this. It's all good. You can't always. I mean, it's like. Maybe that's what it is. The tip is like.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not always a tip.
Yeah.
That's the tip. It's not. And you can get one, you're appreciative, but when you don't get one, then it's not. It wasn't in the stars. So I think it's just kind of like expecting it versus being appreciative if it comes.
Yeah. Nicely put. Yeah, I like that.
I don't know. I guess if you're doing a job only because you know you're going to get good tips, that might not be a good job for you because, I don't know, it's almost like being disappointed when you don't get one. Then,
yeah.
I don't know, just having bad luck, and because I think that was another thing that turned me off to the wheelchair job was it was like you didn't always get tips, and I remember one guy saying like he made like I think it was $100 a day, but it was like some days he would make that easy, other days it was like putting in 12-hour days, like way more than that, just so that. You're keeping up with your quota, but that's like sometimes putting in more time.
Yeah.
So after a while, it's like, is it worth it? Or, again, maybe it's like how valuable your own time is. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or someone showing that they appreciate that time you're putting in, and yeah, that's why I say like when I heard that guy was doing that and making that much money, but it was more or less kind of like never knowing how long you're going to stay at the airport because you're just trying to make $100 every day. So, like, you don't know how good people are going to be feeling, or
yeah.
If they're going to have it like that day. So that's not the kind of job I wanted,
Yeah.
So that kind of that kind of turned me off to it.
Okay. I think at the same time, though, I kind of got this feeling when you were describing it, like you were doing this, like, great service, helping the family and all that.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was like
rewarding in that area.
Yeah, it was. It was, but I think maybe it wasn't a lot of the other stuff I was doing, because I was still working at UPS early in the mornings, and I had to catch the bus just to catch to the airport, and I think it was like I was putting too much time into it versus, because it's like they let you make your own hours, but it's really like, they're paying so less an hour. It doesn't really matter how long you stay. So it's like, yeah, you can stay here all day. We don't care. Like, so it was just sort of like a slave. Like, you want to be a slave today, you can. So I didn't like that option of it, because it was always like
kind of suggested. Well, you want to work longer.
You need to stay longer. You need to stay longer.
Jeez. Yeah, that sounds, when you put it that way, it sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think this kind of touches on what we've already said here, what you were saying. The next one, this is the last one. Cash is not necessarily king.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this mentions the pandemic. It says, during the pandemic, many places discourage or even forbid paying by cash. Wow. I've heard of those. All right. People also tend to leave bigger tips when they use credit cards. It's also helpful to ask the person if they prefer to be tipped via a peer-to-peer payment platform, such as Venmo or Zelle. If you tip with cash, you can avoid handing it to the person by putting it in an envelope and leaving it for them. Whoa, we got envelopes coming out of the woodwork. Okay.
That's pretty legit.
That's a professional tipper right there.
Yeah. That's class.
Class up the ass. I think we've already said that cash is not necessarily king. Like, I've had like sincere thank yous that like was more rewarding than ever receiving cash. Like sometimes cash felt dirty, slipping you some money under the table. Here, come on,
yeah.
take it. Come on, just take it. Like, take the money, man. Huh. All right. So that wasn't a very good last one, but it kind of yeah. All right. So you got any last words on this? Like we got the Cardinal Rules. We talked about these special instances. And it sounds like there's a lot of feeling that's going on into all of this. Like we were talking about generosity and the acknowledge your appreciation. You know?
Yeah, it's weird now because, and I wanted to mention it to you too, because it's like, people have cash apps. People have these places where you can send them money, but it's almost like I see a lot of people on TikTok. They'll have their cash app like available, so it's like if you're feeling generous, you can send them money if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just because they're giving you the avenues to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just like if you feel I deserve something, then give me something.
Yeah.
Versus like just kind of like when you were saying like another time when it's like, well, show me something and
trick or treat, yeah.
You deserve that amount, but now it's almost like somebody's doing something, and if you appreciate it, well, then show me by tipping me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that too. Like even now, like all these different streaming services, and we all pay that monthly fee to have it, and it's just. I mean, I don't have to say it's the same as a tip, but it's almost like even with Hulu, like you can pay more, tip more to get more of the services, to get more, to cut the commercials, to have access to these other channels, you know. So there's, I don't know, it's just tipping is. It's like anybody can be a tip now.
Yeah, wow.
And you don't
That's a good way of putting it.
Gotta be doing much, but I wonder if, I mean, not to say like oh, I want to, who's gonna tip me the highest, but it's just kind of like, oh, if I were to do that, throw out a link, hey, this is my Cash App. Am I doing anything worthy enough to be like, oh, hey, you deserve a tip?
Hey, that's for the people to decide, man.
So I don't know, but
give them the option and just let the cards fall where they may. I like that you said earlier that if it's not in the stars, I was like, astrology. Like, okay.
But I mean, it's weird because it's like some people are asking you. I mean, not me, but I think in general, like if you acquire a fan online, or if someone likes your content you're making, they can say to you, oh, hey, how can I support your cause, or hey, I want to give you something. Even the wish list for Amazon, like people just have wish lists, and it's like, hey, if you want to give me something, go look at all this stuff I like, and you know, if you want, you can even buy it from me.
Huh.
So, I mean, we're all kind of capable of receiving tips.
Yeah, it's a digital age here.
Yeah, and it just seems like
more and more expected too.
Yeah.
I was thinking when a YouTube channel monetizes, so they start showing advertising, it's like the advertising is tipping the channel.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing our shit. Here's a little something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I guess, what are you getting tipped for? Or are you doing anything that's worthy of getting a tip? I don't know. It just seems like, even with like getting a heart on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Those are our tips.
Yeah. I appreciate feedback. And comments, comments, likes. I appreciate that.
So
I'm ready to close this thing out.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think tips are appreciated, but they're not always mandatory.
All right, well,
it just seems like we're getting in a digital age where they're kind of like you said, like not mandatory, but it's almost like ridiculous to what someone could be thinking they deserve a tip for. Like, oh, I'm the manager today, so you gotta tip me.
Shit.
Yeah,
the captain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there you have it, people. Tip, don't tip. There was a time where it was your thank you card. That you got graded and got your tip. I think it's funny. Like there's still plenty of people, and like I think there's like a generation that probably the generation I'm just talking about is won't tip at all. There's like just do your job, you know. So I mean, I guess it's up to the user, the customer, the person. Tip or no tip, it's up to you. And we're definitely in this like different generation where we mentioned the faux pas. How dare you not tip enough? Or if you're gonna tip, you better be tipping 20%, 15%.
It was always don't be cheap.
Yeah, I guess always. My big thing right now is that this whole gratuity, it's like you don't even have a choice. It's gone that far. It's like, oh, we're taking this. Just letting you know in writing right here on your tab, we're taking this as gratuity. Thank you and goodbye. So now we're being strong-armed, and like Sky's been putting it, even in this digital age, there's tipping for all these unusual circumstances when before it was for the service industry. So people, when you're going out there, consider these things, consider the Cardinal Rules, think about the situations, and make up your own mind. Are you a tipper? Are you a good tipper? Are you a bad tipper? How do your tips affect somebody else's life? Do they affect them at all? Or like Sky said, what's my $2 going to do for this person? It's going to send them down the run, the unbeaten path into, loss of sobriety maybe. I kind of like the story of the homeless man that's getting, has the sign, he's getting tips or money, he's getting donated, whatever you call it, you're giving money to the homeless man, and then he walks around the corner and gets in his Mercedes-Benz and he's got gas money now. There's all these situations, so when you're out there in the world, think about it, make up your own mind and figure it out. Maybe, as we said, teach your kids a little something about gratuity, tips, percentages. Do the math. Get your calculator out. There's calculators that calculate strictly tips.
Oh, yeah.
Do the math. There's things that'll do the math for you. And, make up your own mind. Tip or no tip. Was it worth it? Was it not? It's up to you. But we're definitely living in an age where there's tips and gratuity, and there's a long history of do's and don'ts. And if you're not one of those people, maybe you should get on it. Figure it out. Think about what's been said here today. Alright? And as always, thanks for tuning in to the Natives in America podcast on the Reservation Radio. Any last words, Sky?
Nope. Just tip, don't tip, whatever, man.
Don't be cheap. I'm still kind of tripping on the whole if you don't got it, don't be out. I don't know about that. Man's got to eat. Sometimes I want to sit down.
Yeah, and that was why I brought it up. I think that's what inspired the whole conversation was. Sometimes people think that they're balling when they go to a restaurant where there's this level of expectation from what the worker's doing and what they're acquiring, and the bill you run up is going to reflect how much you should tip them.
Damn. Yep.
And when you don't, you're cheap. I mean, I don't know if you're cheap, but it's just like, again, it's like lack of awareness, but
you just farted in the punch bowl.
Something like that.
Oh, sorry, you got a better expression.
I don't know, just tip, don't tip, but it is nice getting one, so maybe you gotta give some too.
Gotta remember that. Okay. Well, good night, everybody. I'm burnt out. It's time to call it.
Yeah.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, peace.